How exactly does a bizarre, offhand courtroom joke about insects turn into a massive socio-political rebellion overnight? Well, let's just dive right into this explainer and unpack a digital phenomenon that completely disrupted India's political landscape by blending pure internet meme culture with some very real, deep-seated generational frustration. It all started on May 15, 2026. Picture this. During a Supreme Court hearing, India's Chief Justice actually said, there are youngsters like cockroaches who don't get any employment or have any place in the profession, and they start attacking everyone. He even went as far as calling them parasites of society. And as you can probably imagine, this absolutely shocked the internet. So this naturally begs a massive question. How in the world did a word meant for literal pests become a badge of honor for millions of young Indians? To really understand this, we have to look at the immediate aftermath in this specific powder keg of an environment that this comment landed in. Now, to be completely fair here, we've got to look at both sides. The very next day, the Chief Justice actually issued a clarification. He stated he was misquoted and was only referring to frauds who enter professions with fake and bogus degrees. He made it clear that the youth are, in his words, the pillars of a developed India. But you know how the internet works. The clarification just couldn't outrun the initial outrage. The mobilization had already begun. And the speed of what happened next is just wild. It perfectly captures the lightning-fast pace of modern internet culture. On May 15th, the remark drops. Literally 24 hours later, on May 16th, a satirical political entity called the Cockroach Janta Party, or CJP, is officially formed online. By May 20th, it crosses an unbelievable 10 million followers on Instagram. And then, by May 21st, its official X account is legally blocked in India. We're looking at the birth, the explosive peak, and the initial censorship of an entire movement in under a week. What's really fascinating is the mastermind behind this whole thing. Meet Abhijeet Dipke, a 30-year-old public relations graduate studying at Boston University. Now, what's crucial to know about him is his background. He formerly worked as a social media strategist for the Aam Aadmi Party. He brilliantly leveraged that political communications experience using AI tools like ChatGPT to rapidly design the party's whole look and manifesto, successfully channeling all that collective anger into a highly shareable satirical platform. The sheer scale of this thing's reach was unprecedented. Within days, the Cockroach Janta Party hit 15 million followers on Instagram. To put that into perspective, they completely blew past the online followings of India's oldest and most powerful institutions. The Indian National Congress was sitting at 13.2 million, and the ruling party at JAP, literally the world's largest political party, had 8.7 million. A totally non-existent meme party was suddenly dominating the country's digital space. So how on earth did they blow up so fast? Well, they spoke the exact language of their audience. They hooked them in with hilariously absurd, self-deprecating criteria to join their union of lazy cockroaches. Listen to this. To join, you must be unemployed, either by force or by choice. You must be physically lazy. You must be chronically online for at least 11 hours a day. And you must have the ability to rant professionally. It was hyper-ironic, and it spoke directly to Gen Z. But wait, right beneath all that irony, there's a serious core. Alongside the jokes, they dropped a very real manifesto with highly specific, systemic demands. They called for an end to post-retirement political appointments for chief justices to protect judicial independence. They demanded 50% women's reservation, severe terror charges for officials who illegally delete votes, and a 20-year ban for politicians who defect from their parties. So this wasn't just a meme at all. It was a razor-sharp critique of the establishment. And, you know, the real heart of this movement is captured perfectly in their official vision statement. They wrote, "We're not here to set up another PM Cares. We are here to ask, loudly, repeatedly, in writing, where the money went." That tells you everything you need to know. At its absolute core, this movement is demanding deep institutional transparency and financial accountability from the elite. Which brings us to the root cause of all this, India's underlying youth crisis. Because the reality on the ground is pretty grim. India is churning out over 8 million graduates every single year, but the graduate unemployment rate is sitting at a staggering 29.1%. Almost a third of the country's educated youth simply cannot find jobs. To make matters even worse, that rate is actually 9 times higher than for individuals who never even attended school. So when the Chief Justice casually mentioned unemployed youth, he inadvertently poked a massive festering wound. And as they say, timing is everything, right?
The launch of the Cockroach Janta Party coincided perfectly with massive national outrage over the NEET exam paper leaks. Millions of students were already in the streets protesting the cancellation of a vital medical entrance test due to fraud. The CGP even released a protest song specifically about this scandal. Student trust was already entirely shattered. That courtroom comment was just the match that finally lit the powder keg.
On top of that, traditional politics has just completely failed to capture this demographic. The numbers show that 29% of young Indians avoid political engagement entirely. They just feel unrepresented by formal political parties that they see as relying on old fault lines of caste and religion. That profound alienation left Gen Z searching for an alternative, which is exactly why an absurd meme party became their vehicle of choice for digital dissent. It's exactly like retired bureaucrat Ashish Joshi said, in an environment where direct political dissent carries immense personal risks, satirical movements offer a much-needed breath of fresh air. Think about it. If you criticize the establishment directly, you might face severe backlash. But if you put on a digital cockroach costume and post memes, you're completely insulated by irony.
So what's the fallout? Let's look at the real-world stakes of this online satire.
Because it didn't just stay online. Young volunteers actually took this to the streets, theatrically embracing the cockroach label in public spaces. But instead of angry or violent protests, they started organizing civic cleanup drives around garbage dumps and polluted waterways, all while dressed in cockroach costumes or wearing placards that read, "I am a cockroach." It was just this brilliant piece of performance art, basically saying, if society views us as pests, we will respond with public service. This thing got so much traction that real heavyweights started paying attention. We're talking real-world politicians like Trinamool Congress MPs Mahua Moitra and Kirti Azad publicly engaging with the party. Supreme Court lawyer Prashant Bhushan, tech founders like Hotmail Subir Patia, and massive YouTube influencers like Dhruv Rithi, they all threw their support behind the movement, deeply validating the youth's anger. But of course, the establishment pushed back. On May 21st, 2026, literally hours after the movement's Instagram humiliated the ruling party by passing their follower account, the Cockroach Janta Party's official X account was legally withheld in India. The platform stated they were acting in response to a legal demand from the government. The satire had just grown way too loud to be ignored. Now, even the founder himself admits this whole thing might blow over in a few days. But considering the staggering numbers and the very real economic pain driving it, we've got to ask, are these meme-driven movements merely fleeting, hyper-ironic jokes? Or are we witnessing the legitimate, chaotic new frontier of modern democratic dissent for a generation that feels entirely left behind? Thank you for checking out this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the world.